Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for another fascinating deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so today's topic might seem a bit, well, mundane.
One day and really.
I know, right? But bear with me. We're talking about drinking straws.
Oh, drinking straws.
Huh?
Interesting choice.
Yeah, those seemingly simple tubes we use every day without much thought.
Right.
But trust me, there's a whole lot more to them than meets the eye. We're going to unravel their surprisingly complex history, the different types, the environmental impact, the whole shebang.
I'm intrigued. Where do we even begin with the history of something like a straw?
Well, believe it or not, the earliest straws we know of go all the way back to the Sumerians. Yeah, those guys.
No way. Ancient Samaria?
Yep, around 3000 BCE. And guess what they were using them for?
Water? Wine?
Beer.
Yeah.
Apparently, to avoid all those chunky bits left over from fermentation.
Makes sense. Who wants to drink lumpy beer?
Exactly. And get this. The oldest straw ever found was discovered in a Sumerian tomb. It's a gold tube inlaid with lapis lazuli.
Fancy. A gold straw. Talk about high-class drinking.
Right. Puts our plastic ones to shame. But that might not even be the earliest example. Some think these metal scepters found in Armenia, from even further back, could have been early straws too.
So drinking tubes could be even older than we thought.
Exactly. Now, fast forward a few thousand years to the 1800s, and we started seeing the rise of natural straws. Mostly rye straws, as they were cheap and readily available.
He is practical, though I bet they weren't perfect.
You got it. Their big issue was getting soggy pretty quickly. Not exactly ideal for a long drink.
Imagine that, a soggy straw. That brings us to the invention of the modern paper straw, right?
Bingo! Enter Marvin C. Stone, an American inventor. Legend has it, he was enjoying a mint julep one day in 1888 when he got annoyed with the grassy taste of the rye straw he was using.
I can relate to that.
So what did he do? He wound paper around a pencil, glued the strips, and to make it even better, he coated it in wax to prevent it from dissolving in liquids.
Clever. Especially if you're drinking bourbon like he apparently was.
Smart thinking, right? These early paper straws were 8.5 inches long with a narrow bore to avoid seed clogging. Apparently, people even used 2 at a time for easier sipping.
2 straws. I wonder what that was like.
I know, right? A whole different drinking experience. But the story doesn't stop there. The 20th century brought mass production, and that's when things really took off. After World War II, plastic and cellophane straws flooded the market.
The age of disposables. Makes sense, though, with the rise of restaurants and takeout food.
Definitely. It was also around this time that cellophane straws really entered the scene, thanks to Otto W. Diefenbach Sr. and his company, Glassop Inc.
So the idea of a disposable straw made from something other than paper was already brewing for a while.
Precisely. But the real fun began with the novelty straw. Ever heard of the Sip NC?
Wait, those crazy twisty ones?
Those are the ones, invented by Milton Dinhofer. It all started with a simple scissor-shaped straw, but Maisie suggested adding fun characters, which led to those iconic cowboy, clown, and elephant designs.
I loved those as a kid.
Who didn't? They were marketed as action-drinking tours and sold millions.
Okay, so we've gone from ancient Sumerian gold to rye straws, paper straws, plastic straws, and even crazy straws. It's incredible how much the humble drinking straw has evolved.
I know, right? And speaking of evolution, that brings us to the wide world of straw types we have today. We've got plastic, of course, but even within that category, there are tons of variations. The most common type you see is made from polypropylene.
Polypropylene, why is that the go-to plastic?
Well, it's super durable, lightweight, and cheap to manufacture. Although you'll also find straws made from polyethylene and polyvinyl chloride.
And each plastic probably serves a different purpose.
You got it. They can be molded into all sorts of shapes and sizes and can withstand both hot and cold temperatures.
Essential for those iced coffees and hot chocolates.
Absolutely. Then we got those bendy straws, the ones with the concertina-type hinge. They were actually invented by Joseph Friedman in 1937 after he saw his daughter struggling to drink with a straight straw.
A dad invention. I love it.
Right. Sometimes the best ideas come from those everyday observations. And you know what else? Plastic straws even made it to space.
Space? Seriously?
Yep, astronauts use them to avoid liquid spills in zero gravity. Imagine cleaning up a floating blob of juice in a spaceship.
Disaster.
Exactly. Back on Earth, we've got those spoon straws for slushies, stir straws for coffee and tea, and even boba straws with their wider openings for those tapioca pearls.
Oh, and don't forget those crazy straws. Arthur Philip Gildersleeve patented those back in 1936, proving that people have always enjoyed adding a little fun to their drinks.
It's amazing how we've come up with so many variations for something as simple as a straw. But of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the environmental impact of all those plastic straws.
Right. Sadly, most plastic straws aren't recycled because they're so small and the type of plastic used. So when they're not disposed of properly, they end up polluting our environment, particularly our oceans.
I still remember that video that went viral a few years ago, showing a plastic straw being removed from a sea turtle's nostril.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
I know, that image really stuck with people and raised awareness about the issue. The scientist who filmed it said that the emotional impact was crucial in changing public opinion.
Powerful images can be much more effective than just data sometimes. And speaking of data, there's been a lot of debate about how many plastic straws we actually use. That figure of 500 million straws per day in the US gets thrown around a lot.
That number always sounded crazy high to me.
Well, it turns out it originated from a young boy's research, which, while admirable, wasn't exactly the most scientifically rigorous.
So it's likely an overestimate.
Yeah, market research firms have given lower figures, but we're still talking about a huge amount of straw waste. Now, in terms of ocean trash, straws are high in number but low in weight. They were the 9th most common item found in the Ocean Conservancy's 2023 International Coastal Cleanup, but they make up less than 0.022% of plastic waste entering our oceans by weight.
Okay, so a lot of straws, but not the heaviest polluter. But even those small, lightweight pieces can break down into microplastics, right?
Sadly, yes. When plastic straws aren't disposed of properly, they can fragment into tiny particles called microplastics and even smaller nanoplastics. These particles can contaminate our water and soil and pose serious risks to the environment and even our health.
Which brings us to the movement towards alternatives. We've talked about paper and metal straws, but those have their downsides too.
Absolutely. Some people point out that straws aren't even necessary for most people. But for those who need or prefer them, finding the perfect alternative is tricky. Paper straws, while better for the environment in some ways, can get soggy quickly, especially in thicker drinks. And ironically, McDonald's UK found that their paper straws were too thick to be recycled effectively.
So they ended up being used for energy or going to landfill anyway.
Talk about a plot twist. Then you have metal straws, which are durable but can be dangerous, especially if you fall with one. Plus, there have been reports of them being stolen from restaurants.
People really do love their metal straws.
I guess so. But seriously, the production of both paper and metal straws also has its own environmental costs, so it's not a simple solution.
So what about biodegradable plastics, like PLA and PHA? Are those the answer?
They do show promise. PLA requires less fossil fuel to produce, but it needs specific conditions to break down properly. PHA, however, is made from plant oil and is marine biodegradable. There's even a commercially available PHA straw called the Fade straw.
Innovation in action. Aside from those, we've also seen straws made from hay, bamboo, seaweed, even dried coconut leaves.
Talk about getting creative. It's clear we're still searching for that perfect solution.
And of course, in the midst of all this, we have the issue of greenwashing, with some companies making misleading claims about their products' environmental friendliness.
Sadly, it happens all the time. One study found that almost 95% of products surveyed made some kind of dubious environmental claim.
It makes it hard to know what to trust. But all this concern over plastic pollution and the impact on the environment has led to a wave of plastic straw bans and restrictions.
It really picked up steam in the late 2010s, fueled by those shocking images of ocean garbage patches and videos like the one with the sea turtle.
A real turning point. And the bans have been implemented at all levels, from local communities to entire countries.
That's right. In Australia, South Australia banned single-use plastics in 2020, and McDonald's pledged to phase out plastic straws nationwide.
In Brazil, Rio de Janeiro banned them back in 2018, mandating biodegradable or recyclable options.
Canada's situation is more complicated. Vancouver adopted a single-use reduction strategy, making straws available only upon request, with bendable options for accessibility. Starbucks even introduced strawless lids in Toronto.
The federal government had announced a ban on single-use plastics, but it was overturned in 2023.
Right. Meanwhile, the European Union implemented a ban on various single-use plastics, including straws, in 2021.
New Zealand followed suit in 2023, with exceptions for disability needs. Taiwan also banned single-use plastic straws in government facilities, schools, and various businesses in 2019.
In the UK, they've been pushing for innovation in plastics. Even Queen Elizabeth II banned single-use plastics from the royal palaces in 2018. England also implemented a ban on single-use plastic straws, stirrers, and cotton buds in 2020, with some exceptions.
And in the U.S., there was actually a hypothetical executive order in 2025 encouraging the use of plastic straws, which would have been a step backward.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but at the state and local levels, things are moving in the opposite direction. California passed a law in 2019 requiring restaurants to give out plastic straws only upon request. Several cities there already had bans in place.
Makes sense.
Right. Other states like Florida, Maryland, and Massachusetts have seen bans at the local or county level. New York City even proposed a ban with fines for violations. And Seattle was ahead of the curve, banning non-compostable straws in 2018.
It's a patchwork of legislation across the country.
That's the U.S. for you. But alongside these bans, we've also seen major companies voluntarily phasing out plastic straws.
Like McDonald's UK and Ireland switching to paper straws and even testing them out in the US.
A&W Canada pledged to eliminate plastic straws completely, and Starbucks moved toward using strawless lids for most drinks.
Hyatt started offering straws upon request only, and even Royal Caribbean began offering paper straws on their ships.
And let's not forget IKEA, who announced their plan to eliminate all single-use plastic items from their stores. A pretty big statement.
Definitely. But of course, not everyone is on board with these bans.
Yeah, there's been some pushback.
Some argue that straws make up a tiny percentage of ocean plastic waste, so bans are just a symbolic gesture.
And more importantly, disability rights advocates have raised concerns about the accessibility of alternatives. They point out that plastic straws offer features like heat resistance and ease of use that are crucial for people with certain disabilities.
So right, accessibility is essential.
Absolutely. They argue that plastic straws should remain available upon request for those who need them. And we've also seen the issue become politicized, with groups like the American Legislative Exchange Council pushing back against bans.
And then you had the Trump campaign selling reusable plastic straws as a fundraising item, contrasting them with liberal paper straws.
Shows how even something as simple as a drinking straw can become a symbol in a larger political debate.
It's quite fascinating. But even beyond the real world, straws have made their way into fiction.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, in Don Quixote, the innkeeper makes a straw out of a reed so Don Quixote can drink without taking off his helmet.
Haha, that's great.
And in Nicholson Baker's novel, The Mezzanine, there's actually a long and detailed discussion about different types of drinking straws. Who knew they could be so literary?
It's amazing. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that the drinking straw has a much richer and more complex story than we might initially think.
For something so small and seemingly insignificant, it's sparked conversations about history, innovation, environmentalism, and even social issues.
Exactly. And the debate surrounding straw use and bans is far from over. There are so many factors to consider: environmental impact, accessibility needs, and just plain practicality in everyday life.
It's a reminder that even the simplest things can have far-reaching consequences.
Absolutely. So next time you're offered a straw, take a moment to think about its journey. All the different materials, the impact on the environment, the people who rely on them for accessibility. It might change the way you see that little tube.
And maybe encourage you to make more informed choices about your own consumption habits.
That's what we hope for here at The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.